guys, I have another shorter class for you today that focuses on core work. For this one, I'm going to give you some options where you can use some props to enhance the exercises. So if you have a pair of dumbbells, a yoga block, and a little resistance band, you might have this handy, and I'll show you with and without. So let's get going. We're going to start lying down on our backs, a little knee hug. Alright, and then we'll keep the right knee in and take the left leg down. Roll the ankle a little bit. And we'll switch legs. We'll take this one knee in stretch into some bicycling. So you can switch legs again. Lift head, shoulders, hands behind the head, opposite elbow to knee. I'm sure that you've done this before. Not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? An oldie but goodie. However, if you would like to try a variation on that using your resistance band, forgot to bring it down with me, you can do it with the resistance band around your feet, and your hip flexors are going to get a little bit extra work out of that, in addition to just the abs. All right. Let's rest for just a minute after that. Knee hug, and then a nice twist. Knees drop to the right, arms can reach out, or maybe you're pressing a hand to get your legs to stay a little bit more. Take that twist over to the other side. All right, maybe arms out, maybe giving your legs a little push. Okay, we'll come back up and take feet down with knees bent and do just a few rounds of pelvic tilting, lumbar cat-cow, just so we have some awareness of that area. Inhale, low back lifts and arches. Exhale, presses flat. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Let's do a couple more rounds. Okay, and from that flattened position, we're going to lift the feet up so the knees are right over the hips, approximately a 90-degree angle with those legs. We'll take arms up toward the ceiling, and this exercise is called dead bug. I love this core exercise. It's really good for brain exercise as well. It's harder than one might think. So we're going to reach opposite limbs in opposite directions. Inhale, exhale. Let's keep going. So see if you can tell if the things that are not supposed to be moving, so that's one side, are actually not moving, right? Sometimes they want to do some funny things. One way that you could kick this up a notch if you wanted to and add a little bit more work for the arms is doing the same thing but with some weights, right? So you want to be careful the weights aren't too heavy or it's going to stress things out, and you want to make sure you're keeping your low back rooted. Last one. Woo, okay. We'll set the weights down, hug the knees. Alright, let's rock it up and we'll do a little stretchy goodness from here. Coming on to hands and knees for some cat-cow. Right, inhale, tuck the toes, belly down, chest forward. Exhale, rounding, flattening the feet. Let's keep going. So normally, we think about this cat-cow back and forth as something for our backs, right? We're going through spinal flexion and extension. But as we go down into that back bend, that cow position, hopefully we're feeling a good stretch through our bellies since we just worked those muscles. And you might even add a little bit to that cat-cow routine for your core by, say from your cat position, keeping that position, lift the knees a smidge, right? So there's more weight bearing to that and the core has to work, and then you can lower back down, have another round of cow, back to cat, little knee hover, and down. You could also try the same thing, same little hover with your toes down instead of on the tops of the feet, right? Depending on how that feels on your ankles, adjust accordingly, right? So that might be just on your toes. Okay, let's take a little rest in child's pose from there. And then we'll take it up in a downward facing dog. And we'll just wiggle a little bit here, get the legs a little bit warmer. Okay. From here, moving slowly. So we'll take the right leg up toward the ceiling. And then we'll draw that knee forward and toward the right armpit. And we're going to try to trace a rectangle. So we'll go down toward the wrist, over toward left wrist, up toward left armpit, and then back over where it started. And then step through best you can. And we'll lift up to warrior two from here. Ooh. Let the legs work for a second before we go back to focusing on our core. Let's lengthen forward for extended side angle. All right, and then we'll try to keep this position. Legs are working, but let's add a little bit more of a core element by reaching the opposite arm, right, the one that's resting now, also beside the ear, and then the core has to kick in just a little bit. And then let's straighten up for triangle. You can release the arms. That already feels better. All right, and then we're gonna slide up and down a few times. Pretend there's a wall behind you, sliding up and down it. Feeling the movement happening from your waist. Okay, and then let's reach over with the top arm. And again, let's try that hovering arm position. So much harder. Okay, and then let's bend the knee and then pivot to the ball of the back foot. So we're reaching forward in a lunge. Bring your hands into prayer. Twist to the right, elbow outside the leg. Right leg, the arm and leg pressing together. Help for just a moment. And then let's see if we can maintain that twist as we lift just a smidge and hover the elbow. And it's so much harder. All right, and then we're gonna untwist and do our best It may take a little maneuvering. We're gonna see if we can get the left elbow down, left forearm down for a side plank on that left side. All right, may take a moment to adjust. We're gonna reach the top arm up, inhale. Exhale, reach the hand under your waist, and you can look down and let your gaze follow. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We'll reach back up, and we'll do our best to transition to our hands, and then to downward facing dog. Woo. All right, that's on one side. Let's take the left leg up toward the ceiling. And then we'll bring the knee forward and toward the left armpit. Slide it down toward the left wrist. Across to the right wrist. Up toward right armpit. Back to left armpit. Step it through. Lifting up warrior two. This is the moment when a warrior pose feels like a rest pose, so we'll enjoy that. Lengthen forward for extended side angle. Letting that also feel a little bit restful for a moment. All right, and then we'll add that bottom arm reach. Letting our core get a little bit of attention here. Straightening up to triangle, back to a rest. And then we'll slide up and down a few times. Feeling the work come from the waist. All right, and let's add that arm reach. Add the second arm. Breathe. And then we'll bend the knee, pivot forward, ball the back foot. Hands into prayer, twist, elbow outside, right? Let that arm and leg pressure give us a little bit of help to start. And then we'll hover the elbow and see if we can still just use the waist muscles, the obliques, to help us turn really hard. All right, and we'll untwist and do our best to get right forearm down for our forearm side plank. Might take a moment just to get there. Arm up, inhale. Exhale, reach under. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, last time. Inhale up, transition to hands, and lower all the way down to your belly. And let's take a little rest. All right. So of course we know that a strong core doesn't mean just our abs, right? That also includes our back muscles. So we'll do a little bit of back bending here on our bellies to get strong there. Take your arms down by your sides. And we'll think about the little cat-cow pelvic tilting we did on our backs and move toward more of a neutral place, more of a less curved low back by sending the tailbone down and the hips more into the mat. Give the glutes a little squeeze. And we're going to lift into a half locust, keeping the legs down, right? Letting the arms kind of pull back, lift your chest, and lower down. Let's do that a few times. Stay up, make fists with your hands, right? Keep those glutes squeezing, and we're going to try to stay up and do some side bending, like someone is pulling on your fist from side to side, reaching back towards your feet. back to center. Lift the legs. Maybe you want to clasp for full locust. Breathe. And release. And wiggle and rest. And breathe. Maybe a little child's pose. Alrighty, we're going to come on up to seated and work on some boat pose variations. So, lots of ways you can adjust this to fit your needs, right? So maybe you hang on to the floor, right, hands down. Maybe you grab behind your knees for a little bit of help. So we'll lift the feet, we'll start with knees nice and bent, and then we'll send legs forward and chest back, but we'll try to stay on the same part of our seat, right? So not too far back so that the back rounds, but a little bit straighter. We'll inhale and exhale. So again, maybe hands on legs, maybe hands down, maybe arms forward. Maybe holding a weight at your chest for a little bit more. Okay, and then from here, we can try some twisting variations in boat. So maybe hands are down, and we just basically kind of turn the lower body to one side and then to the other. That also offers you a nice little massage for the glutes as you roll on them. All right, another way that you can do some twisting in boat is to just hold the position and maybe hold something at your chest and then just turn the upper body from side to side instead of lower body. Maybe you combine that with what we did before, right? A little extension and then a twist, right? See what works best for you. Hip flexors get tired in that one too, right? Because they're having to hold the legs up. All right, and just to give that a nice stretch and counter, we'll plant the hands back and go into upward table. Get some length down the front side of our bodies. All right, lower down. Okay. From here, we're going to come into bound angle legs, right? But not quite all the way in like we might do if we're going to do our fold here. By all means, do your fold first if you need a little bit of stretch. We're going to try to do some rolling up and down with our legs in that position. I like to use a yoga block between my feet to give me something a little bit more firm to press into. So I usually do mine on the lowest height, right in between the feet. And that helps me think about what my legs can do to help. And again, the feet are not too close in, right? They're a little bit more forward, right? We'll sit up nice and tall. And then we'll start to round as we lower down. You can reach arms overhead. And then we'll lift up and maybe our legs stay down. Maybe you feel like, oh, I got a little calf cramp there, right? So we know the legs are helping, which is not a bad thing. And so use all you got. Coming up to the hard part. You could do this maybe without reaching arms, that's harder, right? Especially the coming up part. Oh goodness, that was enough. Let's try one more. All right. And then have a rest maybe in those bound angle legs. Maybe you put your feet up on top of that block if you've got it. And that gives a little bit of an interesting difference to that stretch. It feels pretty nice, right? It changes the relationship to gravity, which always changes how something feels. Right, if you feel like maybe your back, after doing all that core stuff, wants a little love, one of my favorite positions for that is bridge with the sacrum, resting on your block. So if you've got a block and want to try that, you can give that a go. It just feels really, really restful and supported. If you want to take that into a little bit more of a stretchy position for, again, that front body, which we've been working so much, maybe legs extend forward. You might reach your arms overhead to accentuate that position. All right, before you come off of that block, make sure that you plant your feet. And then you can lift and remove the block. Oh, maybe a knee hug. All right, guys. Great job. Thanks for practicing with me today for all that core stuff. Give me your feedback. Let me know how things went for you. And I look forward to practicing with you again soon. Namaste.